So today's March the 22nd. Oh my goodness, can you believe it's like the first quarter of the year is gone? And just it was like yesterday, it was the 1st of January. Anyway, so as usual, let's start with our prayer. And just relaxing, taking a deep breath, elevating our thoughts, and invite our mentors, our guides, the spirits, the ones who, like us, they want also to learn more, because that's what life is. It's a continuous learning process, continuous developing process. So let's thank God for the opportunity to be here today among friends, among people and spirits who, like we do, they also want to understand better, comprehend better. So thank you, Father, for the ability to have access to all those amazing discoveries, amazing findings, opening up a new reality to us, giving us hope, giving us the thought that tomorrow will be even better than today. And today is definitely much better than yesterday. So thank you, Lord, for our families, for our friends, for our health, for our houses, for everything that we have, all the blessings. And may also all the blessings that we have be shared with so many others in need. Stay with us today, tomorrow, and always. And so be it. So, okay, so like I mentioned, I like sharing this slide because it just says, how far we went in this book. And I think now we are moving to chapter 4, multiple lives. And last time we met, we were talking about incarnation on different worlds. And yes, so we got answers like, no, all the spirits, they do not have to go through a new infancy all the time. There are worlds that we don't, that infancy, the same way that we know here on Earth, is not the same like in more advanced planets. As a matter of fact, I'm putting together a study about all the different, or the scales and for the worlds in development. And there is one of them that they say that infancy is like you can remember everything that you learned in the past. So must be very amazing. So if you learned different languages, you don't lose that. You just keep adding more and more. So does a spirit choose the new world? It will inhabit, not always, but if we want to choose, then we need to earn that privilege. And if we don't make any requests, then it's going to be up to the progress that we made in the past life, you know, to determine where exactly we will be reincarnated. So the next question is the physical and moral state of living beings on every globe always the same? And evidently, I think that the very logic sense response or answer is no. Worlds are always subject to the law of progress, like yours, like on planet Earth, all have started out by being inferior, and the Earth will undergo a transformation similar to what has occurred on countless other worlds. So Giles was just showing this new galaxy or nebula, whatever. So probably over there are tons of other worlds, right? and undergoing different path on their own progress. It will become an earthly paradise when the people who inhabit it have become good. So there is a comment from Allan Kardec saying that the human beings that currently populate the earth will gradually disappear and will be succeeded by increasingly perfect races. And evidently, that is the very, I don't want to say distant future, but it is in the future for sure. It's not here yet. These transformed races will replace the current human race as the later succeeded others that were even more rudimentary. So I was checking on this study that I'm putting together to present in the Spirit Center. So we know that the planet Earth has been what they call transitory planet. Transitory planet is a planet that there is no organic life. There is no life in there. It's just an orb that sometimes the spirits they use just like a bus stop, but there's no life in there. It's just like the word says, transitory. So, and then Earth has been a primitive world and then evolved. Now it is trial and atonement, but on the way or in transition to regeneration. And when we say regeneration, they mention that they mean we will become regenerated. Not exactly, how can I say, it's not exactly a new state or a new life. Will continue to be like humans, like we are. It's just that it's going to be a pause in our evolution. They understand that living in a trial and atonement planet is very tiring, is very demanding from the spiritual standpoint. So regeneration, like the word says, is really a time for you to recover. So that time is going to be more for the spirit to take a break, take a break and recover. And regain more energy, more, vitality, if you will, to continue on. So I hope it's not going to be too far away from us because honestly, we are getting tired here. So, but it's coming. We know that it is. Right now, we are living the days of transition. That's what they say. Carol.
So I've always heard, that Earth was the hardest place to go, that that's the school for everybody.
It is a school.
So-
And go ahead.
So what's going to happen when when everybody on Earth is copacetic and there's no need for the school to be had anymore here?
Well,
Well-
there's a simple answer, Carol. That's the end of the planet because it has no purpose anymore. But that is not actually what happens, because Anna is saying quite clearly that when the humans fade, now, whether they all go or whether there's an enclave of humans left running around being annoying, or whether they all go and there's a peace on the planet and a gasp of a sigh of relief while all the forests and wildlife grow back again and the place cleans itself up, before the next species appears for the transition, which is the regeneration. So the planet has got a long life ahead of it, billions of years.
So it will be uninhabited, you think, Giles, for billions of years until
No,
The
it would be, it only takes a few million years to regenerate everything. So it doesn't have to, that's a tiny portion of the future of the planet before the sun eats it up. So there's any amount of possibilities because this regeneration can be happening now. There's a changeover going on. And I would wonder, Anna, that you have psychic friends to talk to and you can ask about this and get some details. It's so far in the future that it's not going to annoy any of us. So being 100, 200, 300, 500 years in the future is nothing as far as the planet's concerned, but we're dead and gone long before that. So it's you might as well ask a psychic and get an accurate representation of this, because Gaia is this.
We may not be reincarnating in our next life here again.
Correct. And but that's making the assumption that's making the assumption that it's happening quite quickly. And why would it happen quite quickly when everything else has been going along nice and slowly, taking centuries? So I have no fear for the takeover of gangly people with funny eyes.
Debbie, you have a comment?
Oh, I was just thinking that I think the Earth people are just so uncivilized that just like Giles was saying, it'll take a long time for the new people to take over.
Yes. So like in a school, when it is time for us to move on to a different class, what does happen to those guys that didn't cope with the class right now? They have to stay behind, but the ones who did their homework, who did study, they move on. The planet will move on with them. So the planet is also a dynamic thing that it will progress with the majority. And that's what they say is a transition, because during that transition, there will be spirits that will be exiled, if you will. They don't like this word, exile, but they say, okay, so a portion of those spirits, the ones who are insisting in doing bad things always, or not really oh, we lost Giles, not really coping with evolution, so they will be invited to move to a more adequate planet. When I say adequate, to a planet that is actually in alignment with the lessons they need to live, so they learn their lessons better than being in the more evolved worlds. So take, for example, if we, the same way as we are now, if we go to a more advanced world, do you think with these very same humanity will have any condition to learn same way as those guys living in a more advanced planet? We will not. We will just continue to behave same way as we do behave here. So we need first to learn our lessons. And then as we learn, now we earn the condition, or we earn that new position, and now we can move to a different planet. So trial in atonement, yeah, hard lessons to learn, but those lessons, they're not a penalty, they're just aligned with the level of our understanding, with the level of our consciousness. And as we learn more, as we evolve, then we go through this transition. Is hard? Yes, it is. That's why regeneration will come next, because we are moving from a school to a hospital. Does it make sense? So regeneration is like, okay, so now it's time for you to recover. Now it's time for you to regenerate before you move to the next step. So statistically, it's not exactly like that, but statistically, they say like, oh, Earth, in a primitive, in a trial in atonement condition, we are like 70%, 75% of people, like, they do not know exactly what they are doing. They just insist in bad behaviors, wrongdoings, etc. So the idea is to have at least 25% of those guys to move up, to learn more and evolve more. So, and then we move to another stage where you have only 50% of the folks still insisting in wrongdoings, and so forth. Does it make sense? So we do not necessarily need to move from one planet to another. Evidently, this happens. Yes, it does. But we can evolve with the planet as well. So, like I said, so who knows? Maybe we were here when this was just a primitive world. Maybe we were here when we just had humanoids, people like still evolving like humans. Maybe we were. We just don't know. And then we evolved from primitive to triune and atonement, and here we are living transition, and one day we'll come back to this planet as a regeneration world. It takes all that long. So yes, we are eternals because yeah, just thinking of it makes one feel tired. But it does take all that long for us to perfect our spirit. It is a long journey.
I was hoping that we could visit other planets in between our incarnations on Earth.
You can.
Okay, good.
You can. One person that did was there are some stories about Chico Xavier with this in this life, and then he was taken to another planet to and who knows, you might, right?
Good.
You just don't remember. Sometimes, like, remember that our spiritual families, it might be, you might have members of your family in a different planet, in a different condition. And every once in a while, you guys might meet. Why not? Right? So everything is possible. Everything is possible. I don't close the doors because really it is even more than what we can understand. So it's very complex stuff.
Yes, indeed, including the fact that two spirits can incarnate or be in the same body for some years. As you may have learned when you read the book called The Boy Who Saw True. And he saw a what would be called in 1880, 1890, a mannish woman smoking a pipe and acting in a very male way. And that's what his parents saw, and the other people, the normal people. But he saw another head poking out of that woman's chest, which was a male, and a fairly bad-tempered male. And so these two spirits were inhabiting the same body for a long or short period of time, who knows? But just that the fact that that's a possibility means that we've so much to learn.
Yeah, very, very much indeed. So, the next question, are there worlds where the spirit, having ceased to inhabit a material body, like flesh and bone, only has the perispirit as an envelope? So in another world, in another words, they are asking, okay, so will we achieve a condition when we know we are alive, but we don't need this flesh and bone body? And the answer yes, evidently. And this envelope becomes so ethereal that for you it is as if it did not exist. This is the state of pure spirits. So once we learn everything that we can learn, living in a flesh and bone body or material body, there's no need. Remember, the spirits, they do not waste time. They do not waste any experience. So if there's nothing for you to learn from a flesh and bone body experience, there is no more reason for you to be there unless you want to because you have a mission, because now you want to help a planet or something like this. But until then, no, you don't
Unless you
have
want
to.
to help a particular individual situation.
Yeah.
But by this time you're getting very indifferent to human incarnations, because you know that everything turns out all right. And
Yes,
the
you
rest of
have
that statement, 186, goes on to say there is no demarcation between the pure spirits and there's no clearly marked line of demarcation between the state of the latter incarnations and that of pure spirit.
Mhm.
And he says here, the very thing that we know, the difference between them grows less and less, and they blend into one another as the darkness of night melts into the dawn. That's what it goes on to say. This implies that the next level of incarnation is superhuman, and that is beyond human, because they blend into one another, as he says, and this is 20 or 30 spirits that do that, and then they become a different entity. And this entity knows that love is the overwhelming reality of the universe. So how they can incarnate and what their motivation is your guess as good as mine.
Mm-hmm. Who knows? Hi, Seth.
My esoteric teacher, when I was in Sweden, said that Earth is perfect. And so that people who, there was another planet being readied for those who could not live on Earth. They would be kicked onto that other place
Mm-hmm.
to
Yes.
start again.
Yes.
And so she said, do you want to be kicked back? And I said, no. She said, well, you got to clean up your act.
Yes. Honestly, giving that perspective, that's what I say every time somebody is asking me. I really want you to be born here, to reincarnate here. One, because I really think this planet's so beautiful. Two, because I know, you know, several of my friends and family members, they are here. So I don't want to be alone in another place. So I want to be where everybody else is. It's much more fun. So, the next question now is, it seems as though that statement, okay, so the statement is the envelope, the perispirit becomes so thin, right? That statement implies that there is no clear line between, like Giles was saying, the state of the final incarnations and the perispirit. And no, this differentiation does not exist. However, as the difference between them continues to diminish, they blur into another, just as the darkness of night fades into dawn. Yeah, it's very, yeah. So who knows how that happens, but it seems like it is gradual, that progress, right? So there is no demarcation, like Giles was saying. Is that perispirit the same in every world? I think we mentioned several times here. No, it is more or less ethereal. In passing from one world to another, a spirit I want to say drowns the matter of each, changing its envelope at the speed of lightning. So it does change the perispirit. It does change the matter of that layer or envelope according to the world that we will incarnate. So if I'm here on earth, I will have in my perispirit the same essence that is surrounding this planet. If I go to the nebula right behind Giles, then I will have whatever material it is there. It has to be consistent with the physical aspect of the place we will be moving into.
Anna, I'm sorry to interrupt, but what you mean is the vibrational level has to match. Now,
Exactly. Yeah,
you cannot jump around in the vibrational level.
Absolutely not.
You can visit a little bit the higher one if you've got somebody with you, and you can visit the lower one a bit if you've got somebody with you, so you don't get trapped and stuck. But that's it. It's a vibrational level that matters.
Yeah. Same way, like if you were in a dark place and then you move to a very light place, you cannot just open your eyes. It just, yeah, we cannot look at the sun and keep our eyes open, right? That's the same. Hyacinth.
I can't imagine that anything is the same in every world. Is the perispirit the same in every world? And I just can't think that anything would be the same. It must be different.
Yeah, it has to match whatever nature of that planet, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. So do pure spirits inhabit special worlds, or are they in universal space without being attached to any specific planet? And the answer, evidently, it is pure spirits inhabit specific worlds, like Giles was saying. So there is a place for them, but they are not confined to them as people are on Earth. Like Giles was saying, we can go above, beyond, but we'll have to be will have to be within the frequency or vibration that is more or less similar to the one that we have. They possesses the highest power of instantaneous movement. So, yeah.
Yes, your
What?
vibration has to match.
Yeah. One thing that I love, there is a question, I can't remember which question it was, but the answer, so the question was, okay, so where does the spirit live? And the answer is in the universe. And I love that.
What was the
Because
answer?
in the universe, that's our place to be, in the universe. It's not specifically a word because we are here on earth, but tomorrow, who knows where we will be, right? So we live, or we were created to live in the universe. And okay, so do I have a volunteer to read? I just don't want to obligate you guys to read with my accent. I just want a better English than mine.
According to the spirits, Earth and its inhabitants, both physically and morally, is one of the least advanced of the planets of all our solar system. Mars is lower, Jupiter is greatly superior to Earth in every respect. The Sun is not inhabited by corporeal beings, but constitutes a meeting place for higher spirits to irradiate their thoughts to other worlds that they govern through the lower spirits, to whom they transmit their action through the universal fluid. In terms of physical makeup, the Sun is the center of electricity, and other stars seem to be identical to ours in nature and function. I have to add at this point that in 1860, they had no idea that Jupiter had 60 moons.
Mm-hmm.
And Saturn has 70 moons. That is lumps bigger than, bigger than Manhattan to be called a moon. So the size of the planets and their distance from the Sun have no bearing on their individual degree of advancement. For example, Venus is said to be more advanced than Earth, and Saturn less advanced than Jupiter. Spirits that have been embodied as many well-known individuals on Earth are said to be reincarnated on Jupiter, a world that is one of the closest to perfection. That means their civilization is so good that you don't have many challenges. That's my interjection to explain that. Learning that individuals who did not merit such placement have been welcomed to such an advanced planet garners quite a bit of shock. We do not find anything surprising here, continued. We do not.
Yeah,
Where were we?
First, we must consider.
First, we must consider that some spirits who have roamed this planet may have been sent here on a mission, despite seeming to hold a low or inferior rank in our eyes. I have to remark that being sent on a mission is not appropriate. It's a human term. These people will be voluntary and they will be happy to do the social service. They would not be sent on a mission against their will. Second, these individuals may have had intermediary existences between their lives on Earth and on Jupiter, during which they made great strides in self-improvement. Lastly, there are infinite degrees of development on Jupiter, just as here on Earth, and there may be as much distance between the said degrees as between a savage and a civilized person on Earth. I have to mention here that Jürgen Siever is in total agreement with all of this, and says that all other planets have civilizations on them, even if when we look at it, we think it's a dead planet, because things act in different dimensions. Living on Jupiter does not necessarily imply that they have become equal to the most advanced beings, just as an illiterate fool is not considered equal to a clever philosopher simply because they both live in Paris. The conditions of longevity are different, and no comparison can be made between ages. A person who died several years ago was contacted and stated that he had been incarnated in a world for 6 months, a world that is unknown to us. Well, that's easy. There's plenty of them. There's millions of them out there. When asked his age in that world, he replied, "I'm not sure, because we do not count time the same way as you do." Of course, different rotational speeds around the sun. Second, our mode of existence is not the same. Our development is much more rapid in this world. Now, continued, is this the Earth he's talking about, or
yeah,
the other planet?
Our planet, yeah.
Despite being here 6 months only, according to your measurement of time, I am about what one usually is at the age of 30 on Earth in terms of intelligence and understanding. Other spirits have given many similar replies, and nothing implausible has been observed. I like it. I like the attitude. Reasonable. On Earth, many animals acquire full development in only a few months. Is there any reason why this cannot apply to people in other worlds? Question mark. We should point out, however, that the degree of development acquired by a 30-year-old man on Earth is only infancy when compared to his full destiny. Those who consider humanity in its current form as the standard of creation are quite short-sighted. To assume that ours is the only type of existence in the universe is to undervalue God's divine power. Well, what did they know in 1860? Does the moon go around does the sun go around the Earth, or is the planet flat? In 1860, that was a good question. Hyacinth.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you, Jazz.
Well, two things. One is that so many people have had different experiences. So I think there must be different experiences for different people, depending on the situation.
Yes.
The other thing is that so many people refuse to believe anything that they can't comprehend and accept. Scientists will not refuse anything unless they can replicate it in the lab. And last night on a Zoom, where it was a discussion of UAPs, a lot of people said, no, this is imagination. This is not possible. This can't happen. And I said, but why do we think that in all the universes, humans are the only intelligent beings? It doesn't make sense. And I have questioned this since I was a child. So that, you know, I absolutely believe that there are other people, and a lot of people have met them. And as I said, people who have talked about it have no reason to lie.
Hyacinth, you're quite right. It is absolute nonsense to believe we're the only civilized lot on Earth, and our civilization is rotten to the core, ruled by oligarchs, and it's getting sorted out. But you know, we won't live to see it. In another 5 incarnations, we might see it, but it's a good thing because we've got at least 30,000 incarnations as a human. This is something that people never talk about, but I'm going to talk about it briefly. If we have 30,000 incarnations, I have to think that we in this meeting have done 15,000 incarnations. We're halfway or more. If we have 50,000 incarnations, then we've done 25,000 incarnations. And this is incomprehensibly enormous to have done thousands upon thousands of incarnations. And there's no doubt that this is what is happening. Everybody agrees. I mean, no, you can't reproduce it in the lab. But all the automatic writers, all the seers, all the psychics, when they do their automatic writing, they all say the same thing right around the world, whether they're writing 100 years ago or 10 days ago. They all say the same thing. We have many incarnations, and many means we have to fill the human experience. And what's that going to take? Not 5 incarnations, not 50, but 50,000. Maybe you could say one size does not fit all, and the shortest possible route would be 5,000 incarnations on this planet. But then they would have to be 5,000 really nasty incarnations where you lived for 60 years and suffered every day, everything imaginable. Then you would fill the human experience in some very, anyway, I like it much better that its things proceed more calmly and more reasonably, and that there's many, many thousands of incarnations that we have, some of which are easy incarnations, where you don't get involved in making money, in battles, in injuries. You have an easy incarnation. Everything runs smoothly, and it means that you still have to be born, and you still have to eat and excrete, and then you have to get old and die. So there's still challenges that you meet, even though it's an easy incarnation because you get on well and so on. Like that village we heard about in Philadelphia, where 2,000 people keep reincarnating in the same village. Okay, sorry, I'm getting carried away as usual.
Yeah, in the simple terms, it's like we all know that there are 2 main aspects we need to evolve. So one is intellectual and the other one is moral. So intellectual is easier because we are forced to develop that for the sake of the challenge. So we want to survive the challenges, right? So we evolve intellectually faster, but then morally it takes a long time for us to know, to learn and grasp the knowledge and so forth. So I will stop the recording because we are late here.